This episode, we're going to be talking to the great Barbara Dane, one of my friends for 40 years, who has performed with such greats as Louis Armstrong, Muddy Waters, Lonnie Johnson, Lightnin Hopkins, the Chambers Brothers, and was a huge influence on people like Bonnie Raitt, Janis Joplin, Tracy Nelson, and so many other greats, being an elder statesman to most of these people. She's also a tireless activist in the world of music, in the world of politics, and somebody that I truly admire. So we're going to share her story right now. Enjoy. I'm Mark Hummel, and welcome to Mark Hummel's Harmonica Party. We are in Barbara Dane's living room in Oakland, California, with the lady herself, Barbara Dane.
Ta-da! Get out of here.
And Barbara and I have known each other for 40 plus years.
Since he was a tad, you know.
Yes.
Well, you were full grown, but
well, I was
barely,
young, though.
barely
I was young,
full-grown.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we met through my friend Carol Peary introduced us back in, I think, 1980 or 81.
Oh, way back there.
Something like that. Yeah. And we may have met at the Med first. I can't remember.
No, sir. No, he invited me to come into Eli's.
Oh, okay.
He said,
all right.
This young chap is going to play the harmonica. I want you to hear him. I want you to meet him. And that's it. That's how I met Eli's as well as Mark.
Wow. That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So there we are.
And I have a little side note, and that is I was hearing you without even realizing it was you around that same time at the saloon in San Francisco. They had a jukebox, and it's still there. Saloon is a bar in San Francisco. They had a jukebox there, and Blues from Bodega would play.
Well, it played a lot of places because that was one of the only and most prized victories of this whole community of people, stopping a nuclear power plant that PG&E wanted to build right on the earthquake fault, or the San Andreas fault.
Right.
You know, the wisdom of PG&E, oh yes. So the whole community, a wide spectrum of people, just the area around there, but the university people, all the scientists, all kinds of people got involved. And we stopped it. And that song played a role because Lou Waters,
Lou Waters,
a great traditional jazz trumpet player.
Yeah.
Lou was a very strong early environmentalist. He decided to write a song about the whole subject and asked me to sing it.
Now, did he write that song?
He wrote the song.
He wrote the song.
And asked me to sing it on the recording. And
but what I was going to say is I heard that on the jukebox, and me and my guitar player, I remember my guitar player tapped me and he goes, "God, I love Basie Smith."
Basie Smith.
So later on, when I met you like that year, and I found out that you were the singer of that song, it just blew me out of the water. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Because it sounded so traditional and so in Bessie's bag. So
yeah, well, that's where I was then. I was really deep into that. Yeah, I was. I've never been one to sort of copy the style or anything, but I loved the way she projected and Basie Smith stood with so much dignity and so much power and so much wisdom and wit, and actually in a lot of cases a little bit of vulgarity, a little bit of. She was a vaudeville singer basically.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
but she was totally in the blues tradition. I was going to say
absolutely.
Yeah,
but where she did her work was on the vaudeville stage. Mm-hmm. That's why she and the other women of that era wore those dresses with it all beaded and, hair thing and some kind of whatever.
Feathers
feathers and blah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyway.
But I was going to ask you about the first thing I wanted to ask you about a bunch of stuff. One thing I'd like to do is just give a little bit of background on your beginnings because, that's like, for example, your parents are from Arkansas?
That's right, Jonesboro and Paragould.
And they migrated to Detroit, where you were born.
Correct.
It was May 12, 1928.
No, 1927.
27.
Yes, sir.
And you started singing as a teen?
Well, I started singing as a 5 or 6-year-old in imitation of Shirley Temple.
Wow.
No, every little girl wanted to be Shirley Temple. And so we all
I had a
singing
big
and
crush
dancing.
on her.
Oh, sure.
I did.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. So Shirley Temple and all, I would get up on tables and sing, and I didn't dance. No,
So how old were you, would you say, when you started singing?
5 or 6 or 7 maybe.
And when did you because I remember you telling me that you took bel canto lessons? And was that as a teen?
Bel canto that was when you, bel canto is for opera singers.
Right.
That's the way you learn to throw your voice to the back of a huge auditorium just without any microphone.
Right.
That's the way real singers can do that. And
so were you in your teens?
I was in my early teens, and I wasn't looking for bel canto work. I was looking for a voice teacher, that's all.
Right.
That's the only kind you could find. And a friend of mine was studying with this particular guy, Mr. Coates. And Mr. Coates said if I came in and sang, or at least he saw me, he wanted to see if I had the physiognomy to be able to withstand the rigors of this type of singing.
Interesting.
Was I strong? Was I...
Right.
You know, and he took one look at me and said, yeah, okay, you
Wow.
got it.
Yeah.
And physically. So then he taught me, the first thing he taught me was breathing, made me aware of breathing.
Breathing
So I will show you the exercises, and I'll ask you to perform them, and then the audience can learn them. If you want to learn to sing, you don't have to take lessons for 5 or 10 years. You just watch this for about 5 minutes and do it, do the exercises, and you will be a better singer, no matter what you're singing for. But here we go. Yeah, you have to first find your diaphragm.
Right.
Which you can easily do. You know where it is because I know it, and through your work.
Yeah.
But how you find it is stick your tongue out and breathe, pant like a dog.
Interesting. I've never heard that.
Do it and see if you can stop with the diaphragm. See the diaphragm? Right away you know where it is.
It wiggles,
All right, so there's your diaphragm. All right, now you can light a candle. Light the candle. And you get a blue flame when you blow on it. If you blow too hard, it goes out. If you stop blowing hard enough, it turns orange. You want to keep it blue.
Interesting.
So you start going.
Wow.
A thin stream of air, and as long as you can. And that makes the diaphragm learn how to control the air.
Interesting.
All right? Yeah, it totally
I've
works.
never heard that before.
Well, it'll do it. If you do that, do it often enough, even a few times.
Kind of reminds me a little of circular breathing. And they talk about circular breathing where you have to blow through a straw into water and then take in air as you're blowing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say.
I choked to death.
That's what I say.
Yeah, don't try it at home.
But the main thing is you are a great example of bel canto singing because you have you've had such a powerful voice.
Oh, well, that's what it came from.
Yeah.
Everybody got them probably.
Yeah, but I'm just saying your voice really translates.
I knew how to find it. Yeah, I did.
So,
and you know what else? I have a little vocal trick that I made up that you may have noticed and some people may get sick and tired of. But if I can judge when I'm singing that it's going to be hard to make that top note, instead of hitting it, I'll go up to it.
Right. You told me that a long time ago.
So
yeah, you did. You told me that a long time ago.
Right. I mean, go da da da.
Right.
And as you can't just do that with any old notes, but I mean it comes in a natural place.
And that's a big part of your style, I think.
Well, it gets you to the note, but it also gives the audience something to listen to while you're getting there.
Right.
But I don't know. I can listen back to my records, and in the early days, there was a certain period that I was starting to use it consciously.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to these things are supposed to go out of your mind. You're not supposed to think about technique when you sing. You have to think about what the song is about, who it's directed to, or who's directing it to you. But mainly, live in the song. You don't think
Right.
about the technique.
Right.
You can
Be part of the song.
The song is that's right.
Yeah,
That's why
story.
you're there. Deliver
Yeah.
that song
Story.
and live in it.
Yeah.
This is a story I'm telling, and here it is. And you do that.
Well, you do it big time. You do it big time. I wish I could. I wish I had a tenth of the talent that you have
Oh,
vocally.
God.
You
I wish
are
I could
such
play
a
that.
powerful. You have such a
Yeah, but
powerful voice.
What if
You
I
really
could play
do.
the harmonica too? Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, then you'd
Like
put
Big
all of
Mama-
us out of business.
Like Big Mama Thornton, see?
Right.
Big Mama Thornton was my
Were you
idol,
guys?
really.
Were you guys friends?
Yes, we were. And when I had my club on Broadway,
Sugar Hill,
Sugar
yeah.
Hill,
Yeah.
she used to come in a lot and with her little crew of girls.
Did she?
And they would sit down on the table, establish their little scene,
Right.
and then she would get up and start singing, just for the hell of it. I mean,
Now, would she
wasn't-
sing with you, or just
No.
whoever
She
was
just,
there?
You know, well, she knew I would invite her to sing. So, Willie Mae, you want to get up? Okay. So she'd get up. My piano player, Kenny Whitson, he could play practically anything on the planet.
Yeah.
He could pick it up and learn it right on the spot. And it didn't matter. So she would just call her tune and set her key and start her. You always, singers, start their time with their foot, right?
Right.
You know that.
Right. Yeah.
And you do that, and she would do it. She, everyone thinks of her as a blues singer, which she was supremely a blues singer. But have you ever heard her sing ballads?
Well, I've heard her sing gospel.
Oh, well,
She
that
really sang the hell out of that.
Yeah. But she sings the classic American songbook.
Really? Wow.
She not a lot of the songs, but the ones she did
Yeah.
were sort of a much more, well, all those like, I don't know, Rosemary Clooney and all these different singers of the day, they all delivered the song to some extent with that sense of living in the song. But she had a way of, I don't know, it was almost as if the song was making itself up as she went,
Yeah.
She's just saying it from the heart. She was a real treasure and a genius, really.
Yeah.
But she played the drums too.
Well, yeah, she played drums and harmonica.
The first time I met her was in some little dump on the Santa Cruz boardwalk.
Oh, yeah, I know about that gig.
That gig,
Yes,
and she was
I know
playing
about
drums.
that. And it was Pete Lewis on guitar.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because there was nobody there but her when I met her.
But they played there all the time. She played there a lot. Yeah.
Well, when I met her, there was nobody there that in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why there was no other musicians or anything. And she was just playing drums, and she kind of saw me with a guitar. I know. I asked her if I could sit in with her, and she only had an electric guitar, which I had never played. I'd never held one.
Wow.
So I said, "Oh, I could do this. I could do. That's the way I am. I could do that. I'll try it." So I pick up the guitar, and I start to play it, and the sound's coming out over there. Oh my God!
It kind of threw you, huh?
Saying, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, I had to adapt to that right away. But anyway, it went okay.
Do you remember what years that was?
Oh no, I don't. I
Like
sure
late
don't.
50s maybe, or early 60s?
I don't know. It was decades ago. I can
Yeah.
tell you that much.
No, I've seen photos of her playing that gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pictures of her playing
Yeah.
that gig. So now Sugar Hill, I mean, I don't want to jump, I want to kind of try to do this in some kind of chronology here. The one thing I really wanted to get into with you was from your early days was the story about your dad's drugstore and the guy that asked for a Coke and what an impact that had on you.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you all that story because it is something that happened to me at the age of maybe 8, 9 o'clock, 8, right in there. that actually set the course for my life as far as how I felt about these issues. I'm this high, you know. My dad would always teach me how to do things in the drugstore. And one of them was how to serve a Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, in case you hadn't noticed, is very ritualized. Everything about it. I mean, you've always seen the signature the same, the colors the same, all kinds of things. The shape of the bottle was the same. It's changed now, I guess, but it was always that hourglass, and the glass that had Coca-Cola written in it was shaped like that. It was always ritualized, right? So anyway, my dad taught me how to serve a Coke because I was working in the store, always working in the store. And I was proud of working in the store at that age. I thought I was hot stuff. But anyway, he taught me you open the cap, and then you pour half, and then you set it down side by side on the counter, and that's it in front of the customer. And they, okay, I'll do that. Well, that was a day that was blazing hot in Detroit, and it gets very humid and very hot in Detroit in the summertime. So this man came in very humbly and asked for a Coke, put his nickel, it was a nickel, put his nickel down. I pour it, and I set it up here. And he looks at the door, and he looks at the counter, and he looks at me. He don't know what to do. He's recently arrived from the South.
Right.
And as a black man in Detroit, which was very segregated,
yeah,
he did not know what to do. He was just, what do I... And so I'm gesturing, sit down, sit down. And he's still don't know what to do. And just about that moment, my dad was in the prescription room. It was a compounding pharmacy, and he had to make the medicines out of the different things, you know. And so he's back in there doing that, but he saw that little drama, and he came rushing out. You get out of here. You know you're not supposed to be in here. Don't you ever do that again. Don't you ever come in here. Barbara, don't you ever... And then he explained, well, the man didn't know what to do, kind of slowly went out the door and faded away. And my dad kept yelling at me about how if you start letting these people in here, all these people around here are going to be upset because they don't believe in those people mixing with us people, and it's going to be very bad for my business. You don't understand how much it would impact my business. You know, as much you explain to a little kid. And so, okay, that's the end of that. But how did that affect me? Well, I was dumbfounded, really.
I think you would be embarrassed for both him and yourself.
Exactly,
yeah.
I was, and I couldn't tell why my dad was so mad at me, and so. But then I said, well, I understood later as I got older why, but it was that economic monkey wrench they got over your head all the time.
Right.
You know, but I realized my dad had insulted a grown man in front of a child. That wasn't right. He had misunderstood what my gestures were, and he had all of this was wrong. You know, it is not fair.
Right.
And I say that phrase because I know every single one in the audience, and you and everybody, at one time in your childhood has said, "That's not fair." Children know fair from unfair.
They do. Yeah.
They know, and they know they either do that behavior or don't.
And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So I thought, well, this is not fair. And I realized in years later that I had actually taken that black man's sense of I don't know, someone taking away his dignity or
humiliation or whatever.
the humiliation
Yeah.
and all that, whatever. I took it inside.
Yeah.
I took his pain.
Yeah.
And I kept it all my life.
Right.
It stayed right there.
Yep.
So behave in front of your children the way you think that you want life to be. Don't make mistakes like telling them unfair things.
Yeah. Well, I like what you're saying, because you're really saying kind of like your attraction to, African American music probably was somewhat created in that moment.
It might have been.
In a
I don't
way.
know. Well,
In a way.
appreciation for the culture in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the door was open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying that's such a big part of blues, especially blues, but jazz as well.
Yeah.
That's
right. Yeah. Well.
That's why I think black people sang that music when they did, because it was like there were no other outlets.
Yes, and a lot of people think the blues, at least they used to think the blues was sad music.
Yeah, yeah.
Was a downer and all about my troubles.
But that's people that don't know.
Boo-hoo. And then and then there's the other people who think it's only for sex.
Yeah.
Shake your booty and
But
have a
it's
ball
life.
and forget your troubles. And there's something in both of those understandings that misses the boat.
Yeah.
It's really music that came out of the need for survival. And
expression.
It remains survival.
Yeah.
Is the key thing.
Right.
Whatever's happened to me, good, bad, funny, sad, it's all about survival.
I like the explanation that a lot of blues singers had back when, where they would say, when I do this, it makes me feel better.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, that's
and then
right.
B.B. King had one of my favorites. He goes, they said, how can you sing about this music, when you live in a mansion and all this? He goes, well, I have a long memory. And I thought that was a beautiful way of putting it. I mean, because that's, that's what it is. I mean, you know that, from
That's
your
right.
own life, that,
Sure.
everyone goes through, I think African Americans in this country have gone through a lot more of it than white people sure have, but everybody goes through, troubles.
Damn
is the
right.
bottom line.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody goes through troubles.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you are a millionaire. Yeah.
We need the blues.
Yeah. But the other thing I wanted to just kind of get into after you started taking your singing lessons was, by the time you were a teenager, I didn't even know this till I picked up that article in the Times about you saying that Nina saying that your FBI file goes back to when you were a teenager.
When I was 18.
That's amazing.
Oh,
and that you started singing for union organizations and strikes.
UAW.
And so on.
UAW was on a roll after the war, World War II. We had so many wars, you got a number of them.
Yeah.
World War II, the unions had not been able to organize or strike or anything during the war. Now the war is over. Now you can start to build your union, and that's what they were doing, was building the UAW. So they had a lot of Shopgate meetings and all kinds of affairs and events. And I was lucky enough to be somehow part of that, brought in by people who understood the role of music, which I think the role of music always has been bringing people together. That's kind of the fundamental role.
Yeah.
And I guess people saw that if you came.
So now, did Pete Seeger have something to do with pulling you?
Yeah, Pete Seeger came to town. He was looking for someone to start a People Songs chapter. He was trying to build an organization called People Songs, which was to spread, distribute, and publish these songs that were being written day by day for these strikes and other struggles, race issues, and all sorts of issues. And People Songs Bulletin was his vehicle for doing this. And he was looking for someone to head up a Detroit chapter. And somebody put us together, and we talked about it, and I agreed to try to do it, but I was still only 18. Well, I don't know if you want to know what happened. People Songs eventually evolved into the Sing Out magazine and all of that, but
that was from that?
Yeah, it was the same people.
So Irwin? Was it Irwin?
Yeah, Irwin and
Irwin Silber is Barbara's last husband.
Yes, and latest and greatest.
Latest and greatest. There you go.
40 some odd years together.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Sing Out magazine, for a lot of people that don't know it, is a famous folk, one of the first folk magazines, right?
The leading one. It always has been.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I guess it only kind of stopped publishing. I don't know if it even has stopped. Does it still?
Could be.
I guess it did. Finally petered out, but it was the Bible for all the folk music fans of the time, and the people who were singing and the people who were listening, the people who wanted to see the record reviews and read the articles about the musicians. And
the latest.
Understand and get a new song out of the magazine. Anyway,
now, didn't you say that the first time you really sang in front of people was at one of these union things?
Well, the first time I realized
that you wanted
what the possibilities were
Yeah.
was at the Barnum Hotel demonstrations, which I'll tell you about the Barnum Hotel, the big old hotel on the one side of the street of Cadillac Square. Cadillac Square in Detroit is like Times Square in New York or whatever. It's the place, is the place. The hotel was notoriously racist because a couple of years before this incident I'll tell you about, Paul Robeson, singer, actor, everything.
Icon,
was refused admittance to the hotel.
Wow.
And there was a big to-do about that in Detroit. But this is a couple of years after that. A person in our little circle of lefties was working as a secretary at the National Maritime Union, which was on the opposite side of the Barnum Hotel. So she and others determined that it might be a good idea to test Michigan Accommodations Act, which was on the books, but not obeyed very often. Equal accommodations, never, a lot of places just, no. You couldn't go to a dime store and have a cup of coffee. If you were black, we couldn't be sitting there like that.
Right.
We decided to have this test group. We made up a little, maybe, I don't know how many, a handful of us, to go in and have lunch in there, mixed group. So we go in and we sit down. They seat us in the back near where they take the garbage out, near the bathrooms, the worst place in a restaurant. And we're sitting there, and nobody waits on us. We're sitting there, nobody waits on us. And about an hour later, somebody says, "You might as well leave because you're not going to be served." Oh, really? Oh, well, let's see about that. So we decided to start picketing the place and make them obey the law. So we all got out our little contact lists and called up unions and church groups and PTAs and wherever we had connection to join us. We're going to do this thing and pretty soon we had a big old picket line that was every Saturday going around in a line out in front of the Barnum Hotel, which meant they lost business, I started singing as I marched. We're gonna roll, we're gonna roll, we're gonna roll the union on, we're gonna roll the union on. Or if the boss is in the way, we're gonna roll it over him, roll it over him, roll it over him, that kind of thing. Anyway, I saw, as I sang, that I could sing, projecting my voice out enough that all these people could hear me and follow it. It's just the power of being able to do that.
Right.
I thought,
I know, like, by the late 40s, you moved to Los Angeles, and not long after that moved to San Francisco, got involved with a lot of the trad jazz people, like sitting in with Turk Murphy, playing with Dick Oxtott, people like George Lewis from New Orleans and Pops Foster, Kid Ory, coming out and playing the clubs. And I know this Trouble in Mind was one of your earlier records, probably your earliest, your first records.
Yeah.
San Francisco
57.
Records, 57. and that this really opened the door kind of to your playing across the country and getting gigs in places like Chicago at, say, Albert Grossman's Gate of the Horn, or Ed Pearl's Ash Grove in Los Angeles. It sounds like the trad jazz scene in San Francisco kind of blew it up, in a sense.
I was no longer just a folk singer. I was a blues singer.
In other words, you kind of started as a folk singer, got into the trad jazz arena, and then eventually made it into the blues scene very heavily. By the late 50s.
I just want you to know, though, I never saw them as categories.
No, I know you didn't.
At all.
I know you didn't. But there were connections between each one, for sure.
Like that, yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, like when you get into Chicago, when you get into people like somebody like Mama Yancey that lived there, that was really a connection to, Jimmy Yancey, which was Boogie Woogie, and then you have people like, Louis Armstrong, who you worked with, who ended up in Chicago playing with. Was it Kid Ory that he played with?
But this is a whole different trajectory, so don't mix the two.
Right. I'm just saying Chicago was a major
hub
for music.
Oh.
Okay, so back to kind of your trajectory into the music business. I'm following you from that you moved from Detroit to L.A., and in L.A. in the early 40s or late 40s, you were basically not into music, but when you moved up...
I was.
Oh, were you? Oh, okay.
The People's Songs chapter down there.
Oh, okay.
Folk music.
Okay. So you were into the folk music.
Folk
music, and then how did you end up moving to Berkeley?
My mom moved out here for a year or so. And
was that Berkeley?
No, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
And I was stone broke, and my husband was useless. And my mom married her second husband, and he was very generous with her, and she said, come and stay with me for a bit until you get your feet on the ground. So we came up here.
And you already had one child by that time?
That was,
Okay.
The first, so I moved up here with an infant in my arms and my no good for anything.
And we won't even say names.
You know who.
We won't say names.
But you know who it is.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And so you ended up, I think in the beginning, sitting in with people like Turk Murphy. Is that right?
Well, Turk wasn't much of it. He didn't like sit-ins. He was pretty rigid about a lot of it. But he did let me once in a while.
Right.
But he hired, not he, but Peggy Toke Watkins, who ran Tin Angel, hired me for this one particular gig there because of the Republican convention was going to happen. And they knew there would be a lot of conventioneers wanting to go out and be rowdy in the traditional jazz club. And they might like to have a girl singer, right?
Right.
So, but my problem with the club owners, they were thinking I was going to be a red hot mama.
Right.
No way,
You were the brassy blonde.
No, not even. No, sir. I'm bringing the truth. I'm telling all the troubles.
Yeah.
As well as the victories.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my first paid decent gig around the waterfront. But then I got this thing at Jack's Waterfront Hangout. I was supposed to work with the piano player they had, but he was, listen, dig this. He used to play his big thing of his piano playing part of the show. He would show you how he could play with oranges on the keyboard.
Sounds very messy.
Oh, God. And he dressed like a clothing store dummy.
Oh,
exactly.
Man.
With his
straw hat. Yeah.
Little handkerchief with the points.
Right.
Anyway, I hired Dick Oxtott, who played both cornet and banjo, and Bill Erickson, who was a good piano player. And that was my band. And Dick got them both striped shirts, like a zebra kind of thing, and he called them the Polecats. So the Polecats was my backup group.
So
2 years of that.
So by the time
that was like going to college, by the way.
By the time this came out, we're talking like 1957, and this album, it sounds like, kind of catapulted you out into the national scene.
Yeah, the guy came in one night to Jack's Waterfronts and want to introduce you to this guy Alan something or other who's got a label. He's starting and he wants to record you. Do you want to make a record? I go like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like it was nothing, but of course, it was really big. Anyway, yeah, that did catapult me out of those kind of, because as soon as you have a record that gets some good reviews, and I got some great reviews.
Was this
really
the
great.
one where who was the guy from Downbeat, the real famous writer, Leonard Feather, Bessie Smith in stereo
Bessie
quote.
Smith
Yeah.
in stereo.
Was that for this album?
I guess. I don't remember exactly, but I know he coined that phrase, which I thought was a little overblown. But
well, and I know didn't you win some like, what was it, Downbeat Jazz Polls or something? Or?
Playboy Magazine.
Playboy Magazine, right.
Sort of jazz, they've given an award out to different...
Right.
And I was nominated for one
well,
of
that
their
was a
big
big deal
awards.
back then.
It was sort of... The most fun, though, with Playboy was when I started playing Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
And you ended up on the TV show, right?
I was... Hafner got me onto his... What was it called?
Playboy After Dark.
Yeah, Playboy After Dark. I did 3 songs. The first one was Why Don't You Do Right?
Right.
Money.
Great song, yeah.
And the second song that I did was this Salvation Army song. It's a parody. It's a joke. It's a joke song.
Okay.
Nina hates it that I did it on that show because she doesn't see me as a comedian. He goes, away. You have to beat a drum. Way away with rum by gum. With rum by gum, with rum by gum. And the audience just loves singing away, away with rum by gum.
Right.
The song of the Salvation Army. Well, guess what? I got Hafner on his knees with a little drum mallet playing the drum. See?
You're probably the only one that pulled that off.
Got him on his knees like that.
That's right, got him on his knees.
Yeah, well, anyway, yeah, Chicago was a real... I started going there a lot.
Now, were you playing Gate of the Horn pretty much every time?
Gate of Horn and another place called the Continental. Right. Continental was a real gangster-type jazz club with great food, incredible Italian food. And for piano player, Art Hodes.
Wow.
Art Hodes.
That's heavy duty,
Yes,
man.
it was.
Yeah.
In fact, Art, I used to do stuff like the 12-bar blues. I used to always saw them. I was more of a folk singer in the sense that I just saw them as a string of verses, and you can interplay the verses, and not as a fixed song, but just verses, more or less like flamenco is. Just floating verses and I
kind of add stuff at will.
Yeah, so I would say about a blues, I just say, okay, here's the key and here's the thing. Right. I don't want to tell you the name of it because I might
change it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started to do that, and Art says, "What's the name of it?" Because he knows. Right. The thing was, it had a very particular accompaniment on the original recording.
Right.
Where I got it.
Yeah.
Art, of course, starts to play that. He knows exactly. Oh, he was wonderful. What a sweet man.
Well, you've really worked. I mean, to me, the piano players that you've worked with is just stunning. The list of people. I mean, somebody like Art Hodes or Otis Spann or Little Brother Montgomery.
Yeah. Well, Kenny Whitson was the main one.
Oh, and Earl Father Hines.
Yeah. But those were kind of one-off things I did.
Right.
But Kenny Whitson was the man. I mean,
and he was your main piano player for
Kenny Whitson could read
years.
My mind, I swear.
Right.
I could start a song with the least shred of identifying it, and he'd be on it already.
And he was the one that played trumpet and piano at the same time.
Kept on it with his left hand and blowing it. but not just any old cornet solo, really top-notch.
Top-notch, yeah.
Really could have made it just on that.
And then you also had Wellman Braun.
Wellman
Bro on bass, yeah.
Bass, who was he was instrumental with Duke
One
Ellington.
of Ellington's first guys, and Count Basie.
He was the one who played that hot bass that made hot jazz.
Yeah. So he was one of the real creators
yes, he was.
Of jazz.
Bro had retired. He was already in his 70s. But Kenny and I, just the two of us, I kept wanting to get a bass player just so that he could, once in a while, could concentrate on the horn more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get a bass player. And Kenny would always say, no, they don't, none of them have the time right. They all give me a stomach ache. Yeah, because he was very particular about the time, and that's why we got along so well.
Right.
I didn't realize until I worked with him,
how important
particular
that is.
I was. That's why I didn't like. I had, before I found Kenny, I sang with every decent trad player in the L.A. area. I swear, I was down there then.
Yeah.
And I'd have them for one night, and I'd say,
not making it.
Might be great over there.
It sounds like you had a good. Sounds like you had really good, a good idea of what you did and didn't want.
Exactly.
And that's crucial.
Yes, but it was in my body.
What would make you comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was. I just knew.
So how did you talk Wellman into coming on board?
Well, Kenny's the one who did it.
Oh, he did.
First of all, Kenny showed up. One of my fans brought him in late at night at the end of the show. Comes in and says, I'm all packed up. The house is dark. Everyone's gone. I'm just about to leave. And this guy comes along and he says, I got your piano player. Because I've been saying all the time to the audiences, if you know a blues player that you think is great, I want to know. Mm-hmm. And he said, I got your piano player. And I said, well, I'm too tired. Oh, well, he came a long way. Okay, all right. And I hear him playing out in a darkened room out there.
This is at the Ashgrove?
At the Ashgrove. Yeah. And I hear him playing, and I go like, wait a minute.
I don't want to blow this off.
And so I went in there and started jamming with him right away. And so we worked together forever. And then, okay, how do we get the bass player? Kenny was happy with the idea of a bass player, but it had to be the bass player.
Yeah.
So he found out that Wellman had retired from the Ellington band and was now residing somewhere out in the environs of L.A., had sold his bass, was just chilling.
Yeah.
And he started to court him. He made friends.
Wow.
He kept going over to his house, cooking together. Wellman liked to cook black-eyed peas and different things. Oh, really good gumbo. And Kenny would be cooking and talking food and a little music and blah, blah, blah. Finally won him over. Would you like to come and try it out? Well, Wellman just finally decided, all right, I don't have a bass anymore. I've got to buy a bass now. And so he comes in. Well, we had this booking, and it was a 2-week gig, which was, in those days, the way they made gigs. It wasn't just one night all.
Right.
I don't know where this one night at a time thing came up.
It's the hardest thing in the world on the road nowadays.
And it can't be economical.
It's brutal.
For anybody.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Right away, though, in that first week, I thought, uh-oh, the old man's too old. He couldn't quite get it.
Yeah.
But by the end of the week, he was getting it.
Yeah.
And it was starting to
It must have been
blow
exciting,
me away.
yeah.
And then I said, well, you got to work with us. And he said, okay, he would work with us. He did. Solid. Never missed a night, worked with us. He was in his late 70s then.
Wow.
And he never once let me down in any way at all. I found out later, after he died, that he had been called back given an offer to come back and play with Louis.
Yeah.
And another from Duke, back to Duke.
That's
and he
heavy
turned
duty.
them both down.
That's incredible.
On behalf of staying with me.
That's amazing.
It blew me.
That is amazing.
That's the best validation I can
know.
imagine.
That is super big validation.
Really.
Yeah.
And he's, he said he He just liked the whole thing. He liked my politics, I think, too.
Yeah.
You know, he liked the whole...
He must have liked the vibe of it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to say he liked to watch my
Like to
tail.
watch your bandstand signals.
right. So anyway, that was Wellman. Oh, my God, I love that man. We thought of ourselves as kind of a little father,
team,
son, and sister, you know.
Yeah.
A little family.
Yeah, that's nice. I know you met Louis Armstrong around this same time, or maybe it was earlier, but he saw you, I gather.
Well, yes, he did, but it was a live show, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was invited to be on a show in Pasadena with the Firehouse Five, me singing with the Firehouse Five.
Right.
I said, okay, I'd do it on the grounds that it was opposite Louis' band. And I thought, oh, can't miss that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So here's the juicy part of the story. I was working in a club in New York at the time that I got the invitation. It was one of those month-long or something kind of a
residency.
With some time in there. And it was in the Village, and it was a place that was frequented by the people from Billboard and Variety, and they wrote about all the time. It was a very good spot to be in.
Sounds like.
And I was, one night I get this telegram inviting me to go to this Pasadena thing, but it's right during that period.
Right.
How am I going to fly out there and do that and fly right back when as broke as I am?
Right.
Because I was forever running from the bill collector because, you know, I had 3 kids.
Sure.
A wonderful but not a money-raising husband. That night, I'm singing away, and I see in the back the shining face of Bill Basie.
Wow.
He came down. We were friends already on a casual basis. I mean,
wow.
We knew each other, and he had come just to check me out. You know.
That is something else, man.
Yeah, and then so we were talking afterward, and he says, "Well, what are you going to do now?" And I said, "Well, I just got this invitation, and I really don't know what to do." He said, "Come by my office tomorrow."
Did he get you a ticket?
He paid the plane ticket.
Wow.
He said, "You're not going to miss this gig."
That is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Count Basie paid your way to Pasadena. Wow.
And then when I sang on that show, that's where
amazing.
I met Louis.
That's
and
awesome.
That was that.
So now, when you played the TV show, you did a special, was it a Timex?
Timex special. Mm-hmm.
All Stars or something, and that's such a great clip because I think it's got Gene Krupa starting the song. And,
well, the way it is, the whole show, they had way too many artists in 1 hour.
Right.
And they had to just segue all the time and make medleys out of everything and jam it together. And so then Louis and his band had different artists come on and off with them and do. Anyway, they had this whole setup, and I hadn't been able. This is the other thing. I couldn't get to New York. I had the ticket, but I couldn't get a flight. It was New Year's.
Right.
They're all booking the flights, and it's all booked up. Whoa. Well, anyway, I finally managed to get on something, and I got back to New York, and I went right from the airport to the TV station, which was in one of those big skyscrapers in the middle of Manhattan. And I walk in, and Louis and the band are just packing up.
Wow.
And George Simon, who was the director, looks at me and goes like, "Oh." Well, he says, "Sorry, but, we just can't, because in a live, it was all live then. You can,
right.
So live shows, you have to rehearse all week to put that show on, because one day you do the lights, next day you do the positions, next day you do the whatever, the sound. So I had missed all of that, and George Simon was just saying, "Well, can't do it." But Louis is sitting on the edge of the stage. I got a picture of it. He's sitting on the stage, got a shoe off and his white athletic sock.
Right.
Rubbing his feet, and he sees me come in, and I tried my best to make eye contact, because I knew if I did, that he's really the boss.
He's
not
gonna,
George Simon.
he's gonna stick up
So
for
I
you.
look at him, and there. And so George Simon gets fixed. He says, "All right, you can have 60 seconds. What can you do in 60 seconds?" I started to tell him. I started to say, "Well, listen, this is the blues. You have to develop the thing. You can't just jump in it."
Yeah.
And then I go like, "Hold your tongue. Don't be silly. You got 60 seconds.
Right.
Use it."
Use it.
Well, only about 2 months before I had done the Bobby Troop show or some other L.A. show.
TV show, yeah.
And I had sung Old-Fashioned Love.
Right.
And I knew that a whole chorus of that was 60 seconds.
Ah.
So I said, well, I won't do a blues then, I'll do Old-Fashioned Love. Okay, fine. So, Louis, come on back, fellas. And okay. And then we run through the song one time, the band leaves, Louis is still sitting there, and he says, "It was too fast, right?" Yeah. And it was way too fast.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, Pops, it was too fast." He says, "That's all right, we'll fix it, because I'll have Krupa change in tempo when he does his thing."
Ah.
And that's why you see that happen.
Wow.
That is exactly why it happened.
Too much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for instance, there's a guy right over there now that's giving you a little beat. Do you dig him? Who's that? Jesus! Look at you, Jesus! Hey, Dean, how about beating out one with our band there, you know? Well, along with that, we have a couple of guests there, you know. Dane's gonna chug one, and our boy Bob Hackett's gonna take a couple of choruses, and then he's gonna catch that train down there, you know, the Miami Villa Springs, where he's gonna open up there and kill them cats. Good. Are you ready? Ready? Sing, Gene. All right.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's moments in life which are so, they just seem like they're meant to happen, but they happen by the skin of their teeth.
Right, right.
Just barely make it.
Barely make it, yeah.
Like catching the bus when you're going to be late for school.
Well, I like that about making eye contact with him, because it could have all just gone away.
I know, it could have.
You got all the way there.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I figured, Louis is the boss here.
He offered you wasn't it a tour?
Well, he did. He asked,
Europe or something?
He was about to make one of his State Department tours when he was Ambassador Thatch. Remember all that?
Right.
And he invited me to be the singer. Mm-hmm. Of course, I was over the moon. I mean, who wouldn't be? Yeah. That's the make or break of your lifetime.
Absolutely.
One of them. I got a lot of those.
You do have a lot of them, yeah.
Most of them broke. I made some. But anyway, that was really a dream of a lifetime. And then I got pulled off the tour at the last minute.
Being in Chicago and needing a trio, putting together a trio, and somehow you heard that Memphis Slim was available, and that Memphis Slim, I think, grabbed Willie Dixon. But I remember you told me this great story about going to find Memphis Slim in Chicago, and I don't think you went to his house, but you almost...
The hotel.
The hotel.
Hotel room.
But it turned out he was living separate. He had like two, like a
That's
girlfriend
Willie.
and a wife.
That's Willie Dixon.
Oh, was that Dixon?
Dixon.
Okay, so it
No,
wasn't.
Dixon,
I thought it was.
Ooh.
Okay, I had it
Dixon
confused.
was, basically, he was the same as an African king chief, you know.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even funny. He
Yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
His whole mentality,
Right.
his way of carrying himself, his size, and all the rest.
Yeah.
He saw himself that way.
Well, he knew he was an important kind of conduit, I think, in Chicago.
He was
Yeah.
not only.
Yeah.
He really understood it. But as a person, if he had nothing to do with music, he'd still be
Right. He
like
would have
that.
still been like that.
Prince,
Yeah.
African prince or king or whatever you call it.
All right. So we were talking about Memphis Slim and Willie Dixon working with you, and you said you had them for about a year during that
I did.
time.
They were available, and I brought
And
them.
so
with
they would go nationally wherever you happen to be. They were there. Yeah.
Yeah, they were, and I prize that. I mean, see, I think Memphis. Well, you know, when I was at the gate, I also brought in little brother Montgomery.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
Wow.
I divided the week because
Wow.
Slim plays nothing but 12-bar blues.
Right.
I was wanting to do all these
8 bars and
things with introductions
Right.
and compose songs like,
Right.
you know, and
And Little Brother was a real
Little Brother
textbook
had-
of all of it.
all of that.
Yeah.
He played with all those
He
women.
could play trad jazz, he could play
Yeah,
blues,
right.
he could play
But he had actually played with,
Oh yeah.
you know, all those women that made
right.
those blues.
Oh, right, 'cause
Yes,
you're
he
right
did.
because he played with Victoria Spivey.
Victoria Spivey, yeah.
Right. I think he
Yeah.
did some recordings with her.
Probably, but he also
Yeah.
he worked with Basie, he worked with Ma,
Wow.
all those ones. Yes,
I
he
had
did.
no idea.
He started playing when he was 11. And
That's amazing.
yeah. Somebody asked him about, did you know all those women? And he said, oh yeah, I slept with all of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard that. That's great. It's in an interview on YouTube. I saw it.
Yeah.
That's great. It's really great. So I was going to say, not right around that same time, I think you had a feature in Ebony magazine.
I did when I was working at the gate. Get the word that Ebony, wants to see me, and I go
That's
up to,
so amazing.
and they
Were you the first white person
I
in the
was the
magazine?
first white woman,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know
Yeah.
if me first white altogether, but I was the first one to have a feature story. They did like
Right.
a 7 or 8 page feature.
Right, they sure
Lots
did.
of good pictures.
Great pictures.
And really good writing and everything was
Right.
good.
I remember it had pictures of you sitting in with Muddy Waters Band
Right.
at Smitty's Corner.
And that's right.
And you and Mama Yancey and you and little brother Montgomery and
yeah. Muddy
fabulous
used to-
pictures.
Muddy would let me just take over the band when I come
That's
in late
so
at night.
amazing,
Why?
yeah.
Because he wanted to be drinking in the
yeah,
corner.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And he'd just say, go ahead,
yeah.
you do it. So that's how I got to know Span. And,
Right, and you became good friends with him, I guess.
well, I was in and out of town. I mean, I never
Yeah.
had time to develop any real,
Right,
personal friendships. But the thing about Span, one time I was playing all by myself in this, what we call the Peace Church in New York,
right.
in the Village. It was a nice big auditorium. A lot of people did solo concerts there. And I didn't have any, I was not living in town then or something. I didn't have the wherewithal to get a group together.
Right.
So I was just playing my rudimentary guitar and singing. And in the middle of this program, and I'm singing the blues, all of a sudden the piano starts going. And I look around and it's Span.
That is so
He was
amazing.
in town and he just
That is so
slipped
amazing.
in and started playing.
That's beautiful.
It really
Oh, that must have thrilled
really
you,
touched
yeah.
me because
Yeah.
I mean I thought he was one of the best.
He really was. Yeah,
One of the
absolutely.
best, yeah. And very, I mean, a nice man. What a nice thing to do. Just take
Really.
a vote of confidence on both parts.
Right.
So that he had to be confident that it would be okay.
It was okay with you.
and
yeah. yeah.
he knew that I would be. Anyway.
Right. That's
so
cool.
You know, Mark, I had this dream for a long time about having a kind of a locus, a place, a club, if it has to be, a coffee house or whatever it is, to bring some of these old-timers who were not gigging anymore, but still had a little fire left, on Broadway in San Francisco,
Right. Near
on
North
the main
Beach.
tourist
Yeah.
street,
Right.
across the street from the jazz workshop,
Right.
ideally situated.
Right.
Everything was perfect. The size of the place, the availability of the rent, and all of it was perfect. And we opened, no admission, no Barker, no nothing. You come in here, you like the music, I know you'll buy another drink, probably 3 or 4. I'm not going to say anything about what you have to do. If you don't like the music, there's the door. And that's the way I wanted it.
But the thing I wanted to stress was the amount of talent that you brought in there.
Whoa!
Because you had,
The opening thing was Jimmy Rushing.
Jimmy Rushing opened. Okay.
Why? Because he was in
Yeah.
town at the Monterey,
Right. Jazz Festival.
I think that one, or some. He
With
was in
Basie
town.
or whatever.
He was in the
Yeah.
area.
Right.
So
you had Jimmy Rushing, you had Mama Yancey. I know you did a big
Mama
wing
Yancey
ding
was
with
a
her.
high point for
Yes.
about 3 weeks or so, or
Right.
3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, we had Tampa Red.
Tampa Red, which blows me away. I think there was even an album recorded of Tampa there. Lonnie Johnson
Lonnie
was there.
Johnson.
Brownie and Sonny, Big Mama, Jesse Fuller, Mose Allison.
Well, that was the Bête Noire, because he was so popular. He had never played the West Coast.
Wow.
It was his first gig
Yeah.
on the West Coast. And the people were lined up on both ends of the block.
Yeah. Wow.
Two line.
So we should probably wrap this up, because I know at your age, you need a little break every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I just want, one thing I want to say is just reminding people of some of the other greats you've worked with. Earl Father Hines, Benny Carter, Billy Strange is a favorite guitar player of mine.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Very unknown, but really an
I know, but he would
awesome
play
guitar player.
I didn't know about him. He's brought in by the
Studio or whatever.
Curly Walter, the producer of it.
Right. So you recorded for Capitol?
One time for every label.
One time for every label.
Yeah, because, no, really, it's
Dot
true.
Records.
They get right away, they get the difficulties of dealing with me. And not me personally. Not me personally.
yeah.
I'm not hard to deal with.
Yeah.
My trajectory.
There's a book called Star Making Machinery, and it's about the Commander Cody Band and how the record companies had such a hard time with a band that was kind of uncategorizable.
Oh, right. That's a big problem.
And I was going to say, somebody like you who does folk, who does blues, who does jazz, who's political, and just all those things together.
What bin do you put her in?
And the quote that Albert Grossman, famous manager of Bob Dylan and Peter, Paul and Mary, says, call me when your priorities are straight. When you're not ready to just devote your life and throw away your family for him.
Right.
So, you get these kind of things in life that are just so crazy. But what I want to mention before we go, one, I want to talk about your book and your film coming out in a year, and what a big deal that is for everyone. Ooh. And then also just, how somebody like you has been a real mentor to people like Bonnie Raitt, Joan Baez. These guys were not impressed by anybody.
You're right.
I mean, I think people like Lightnin Hopkins and Brownie, those guys, they really saw what you do, and I think Lightnin had a big crush on you.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, wonderful guy. Last words about him.
Yes.
There's so many people who have the wrong impression about Lightning.
Right.
They think he's got these.
Yeah, he came across, if you didn't know him, you thought he was kind of mean.
They thought he was this drug addict
Yeah, you
guy.
thought he was kind of mean.
They thought he was all into drugs and mayhem.
Right.
But you couldn't have known a sweeter guy.
That's what everyone said. You have been a real inspiration to so many people, and you've always been in my top echelons of music in terms of somebody that I'm
Mark.
very proud to have known you all this time.
I am proud to have known you too.
And you've always been just a joy to be around and talk to, and your stories are just, I mean, you have so many stories that we can't even get into them all today, but yeah. But thank you so much for being a part of this, Barbara.
Well, thank you, and thank you to all those folks watching this.